know, are you helping the revolution that you believe in by being in Lebanon?
بخصوص تواجدي في لبنان ويعني شعوري حول إلى أي مدى أنا أساعد الثورة، لأكون صريحا أنا أعتقد أن الناشطين الحقيقيين هم موجودين داخل سوريا، وفي أحسن الأحوال هم الناشطين الذين إما يعني يستقرون في جنوب تركيا ويتنقلون بين سوريا وتركيا، أو موجودين على الحدود مثلا اللبنانية السورية ويتنقلون بين المكانين. الناشطين في الخارج تأثيرهم الآن جدا ضعيف. أنا لا أسمي نفسي ناشطا، وأعترف أنني كنت أنانيا إلى حد ما، وأنني فضلت أن أهرب بنفسي على الاستمرار في أداء واجبي الوطني. أيضا لا أعتقد أنني في لبنان أملك تأثير كبير تجاه الثورة السورية اليوم. Okay, I want to say that the real activists who are there inside Syria, or at least who are living in maybe southern of Turkey, or maybe some places in Lebanon where they can move in and out to Syria. Personally, yes, I was selfish, and I gave up maybe my national duty. And I believe that my effect to the revolution is weak here in Lebanon.
I know that the reason why you left is because of what you saw in prison. Yeah, because you were detained for one day. Can you describe what you saw?
بخصوص يعني اعتقالي القصير لمدة 24 ساعة، هو حصل بالصدفة، لكنه يعني كان فرصة نادرة لأن أرى فعلا ما يحصل داخل معتقلات النظام السوري. لا أستطيع إلا أن أختصرها بكلمة واحدة: المعتقلات هي جحيم، وهي جحيم حقيقي. المعتقلون يموتون داخل السجون، رأيت ذلك بعيني. تنتشر الأمراض، كميات غير كافية من الطعام، ينتشر التعذيب بشكل ممنهج، سواء للحصول على اعترافات أو حتى التعذيب لأجل التعذيب. يعني غرفة واحدة كانت تحوي أكثر من 160 معتقل. تستطيعون أن تتخيلوا كيف سيكون الوضع. طبعا بدون كميات غذائية كافية، بدون أي زيارات، بدون أي نوع من الأدوية. تنتشر أمراض جلدية وأمراض إسهالات وأنتانات. كانت هناك حالات وفاة يومية في المعتقل. هذا ما دفعني صراحة إلى أن أخذ قراري بالخروج، لأنني خفت من أن تتكرر التجربة. What I saw in this short time in prison, I can say it in one word: it's a hell. Inside the prison, there is, casualties every day. I saw dead bodies, and there is torturing every day, and there is torturing to get confessions from the prisoners, and torturing just for torturing. And there is no enough food, and a lot of diseases spreading between the prisoners without any kind of treatment, without doctors, and no visits are permitted, no lawyers are permitted. You can imagine what I'm talking about when I say to you that in the cell I was sitting in, we were more than 160 in one room, one small room. So I decided to leave the country because I was really afraid from that experience.
That's it from my side.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you feel you want to talk about at this point? Something that maybe came to your mind that wasn't covered in these discussions?
I have a question. You just said that you left Syria, and that actually you think you're weak that you left. How can you live with yourself here? Don't take this as an offense.
It's okay.
what do you think then to survive? Because it must really touch you that you left your country.
أنا سبق وقلت أنني فعلا أنا شخص أناني كنت. هناك مبدأ علمي يعني هو هرم ماسلو الذي يعني يقول أن الشخص عندما يعني سيفكر بأولوياته. عندما أنا شعرت بخطر على حياتي قررت الرحيل. بالمحصلة نعم أنا أنظر إلى نفسي بأنني شخص أناني. لا أستطيع أن أضيف شيء على ذلك. I already said that I feel that I'm selfish and I think I can't add to that. I'm selfish and I think that maybe according to scientific experience or scientific something, I can't translate it, that maybe it's called Maslow pyramid or something like that. Maslow pyramid. When a human being is threatened, he will choose to survive.
Yeah,
Human nature.
Yeah, it's a nature, so that's what I have chosen.
Instinct.
Yeah, it's instinct.
We call it the fight or flight response.
What do you think it's a mistake? Do you judge yourself to have made a mistake but you couldn't do about it?
هل أظنه كان خطأ خروجي؟ أحيانا أندم على خروجي. لكنني أيضا أفكر أو أتذكر أن الأسابيع الأخيرة قبل خروجي كانت لا تطاق في دمشق. كنت لا أستطيع أن أستقل سيارة أجرة لأنتقل من مكان إلى مكان خوفا من الحواجز. كنت دائما أخاف من القصف، من الاعتقال، من رؤية الحواجز المليئة بصور بشار الأسد الذي أراه مجرم، لكني لا أستطيع أن أقول ذلك على الملأ. Sometimes yes, I feel repentful. Why I did leave? But when I think again of the last few weeks I spent in Damascus, I just remember that I just wanted to leave because I couldn't anymore take a taxi to move from point A to point B because I was fearing the checkpoints. And also I remember that I was always afraid of being arrested, of the shelling, I always being, depressed because I see checkpoints full of the pictures of Bashar al-Assad, who I believe he's a criminal, but I can't say that in general, or I can't say that in public.
Do you think the persons that stayed to fight the revolution over there still, do you think they are irresponsible, or you don't look at that? You're just brave.
No, بالنسبة للأشخاص الذين اختاروا البقاء ومواصلة النضال ضد النظام السوري، أنا أؤمن بأنهم أشخاص شجعان للغاية. معظمهم لديه قضية وهو يقاتل من أجل قضيته. أنا أحترمهم وأقدرهم وأعترف أنهم أشجع مني بما لا يقاس. According to people who stayed in Syria or who are continuing their fighting against the regime, I believe they are brave and they are braver than me. I can't compare myself to them. They have an issue, they have a cause, and they are fighting for this cause. So I really respect them.
Can you imagine what your life would be if you had made the other decision?
Would you please repeat the question?
If you would not have come to Lebanon and you would have stayed and fight the revolution, or what do you think that in what situation you would be when you stay? Thomas, can you put the boom a little bit down and go a little bit back? You personal, yeah. Thanks.
يعني هو سؤال افتراضي ماذا كان سيحدث لو بقيت. لأكون صريحا أنا في الأشهر الأخيرة بعد يعني تحول الثورة إلى صراع مسلح مع النظام لم يعد لي دور أنا في باستثناء دوري الإعلامي كصحفي. الدوري الإعلامي كصحفي مستمر خارج سوريا. البقاء كان سيعني فقط مزيد من الإحباط أو مزيد من الكآبة والتعب النفسي. if I stayed, let's say it's a question that it's based on, you know, yeah, exactly. So I think I will be just depressed because in the last few months of the last few months in Syria, I didn't have any role in the revolution because except my role as a journalist, I was trying through some media outlets to convey a message, and this role is going on here in Lebanon. I work online and I'm still working on that. But in the other fields of the revolution, I didn't have anything to do. So I think if I stayed, I would just will be depressed and doing nothing.
Okay, you said that in Arab, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I add more thing?
Yeah.
يعني أود الحديث صراحة عن أود أن أوجه رسالة للشعوب الأوروبية. ما يحصل في سوريا هو يعني جريمة لا يتخيلها عقل، وهي ثورة بدأت من أجل الحصول على الحقوق الأساسية للشعب السوري. نتمنى أن تقوموا بدور الذي يجب أن تقوموا به لمساعدة الشعب السوري ولا تتركوه وحيدا. The last thing I want to mention, I want to address peoples of Europe. This revolution started as a revolution trying to get the basic human rights for the Syrian people. So I hope that you help Syrian people to get this basic rights and not to leave Syrian people alone. Thank you.
Can I ask one final
Yeah,
question,
yeah.
if I may? And it's a little bit it's a very nice way to finish that your message to the people in Europe or maybe the rest of the world. But I guess what I'd be interested in is if you could give a message to a young Syrian person who is maybe just becoming more and more conscious about the situation and was making a decision of how to interact with this, to how they would be involved. What advice would you give them, or what?
Do you mean young Syrian who are still living in Syria?
Yeah, exactly.
يعني سأكون صريحا، لا أعتقد أن شخص مثلي مؤهل ليعطي نصائح، وخصوصا للسوريين أصغر سنا، لأن هناك سوريين أصغر سنا قادوا مظاهرات وهم لم يتجاوزوا 15 من عمرهم.